There we go. I think I've got it started. All right. So I'm so glad you guys could join in tonight. I don't know about you guys, but if you find yourself in the vicious cycle of just occasional stress, low sleep, and just that cycle, then you've definitely come to the right class. We're going to get started just by looking at some really simple statistics. In the chat afterwards, I will throw the link to where I found those at, just so you guys can have access to that. But some stats, 40% of Americans get less than the recommended amount of sleep. No, I'm one of those. 8 out of 10 Americans say they are frequently or sometimes stressed in their daily lives. Only 4% of people say they have never felt stressed before. And I'm thinking that must really be nice. Well, I can't claim to know the secrets of that last 4%. I do have some really great tips, tricks, and oils that can help you stay more calm and relaxed and grounded during your daily grind. And that in turn will also support better sleep and allowing you to feel rested and happy in the morning. So that sleep is so important to that cycle. Obviously, our disclaimer always starts with, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, or cure any of the illnesses that we are, or any illnesses in general. The content we cover is just informational purposes only. But I do want to start out with a question as we jump in that I just want you to think over. That'll help you kind of get thinking on the right path. Ask yourself, how many hours of sleep do you need each night to feel rested? Let me know in the chat window your answer to that, as well as if I'm the person who invited you, you don't have to necessarily put it in the chat window, but I'd love to know how many hours of sleep you typically feel like you need to feel rested. As we visit about this, we'll talk about oils as we go along, but I did want to talk a little bit about kind of just the physiological way that the mind works. So obviously you guys know right brain is the creative side, left brain is the logical side. The right brain is actually where most of the anxious thoughts and depressive thoughts will start and where they'll really take hold, and that right brain will become more dominant. So working anything in the left hemisphere of the brain will help you combat that and will strengthen that side so that you decrease those neural pathways that are causing that anxious cycle. So some left brain things that will boost the firing going on the left brain side of your brain would be writing, preferably in black ink. Something about and lined paper, that was the other thing. Black ink, lined paper, but something about that contrast of dark and light on organized line really speaks to the left brain and strengthens that. Reading is hugely beneficial. One teacher that I was listening to recently said that there was a distinct reason why God wrote in his book, do not worry, do not, and that meditating on the word and all of those kind of things are ways to kind of calm yourself and get a little more balance in life. And I don't think there's any coincidence there that also helps that left brain and kind of lowers the amount of that anxious firing on the right side of the brain. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention as far as boosting the left side of your brain is exercises that cross that midline. So exercises that cross, yes, I was listening to Jim Bob Haggerton. Thanks, Melissa. Definitely. So he mentioned Jim Bob Haggerton, amazing teacher on this sort of thing, but he was mentioning that exercises. So I'm not talking about going out and like a ton of cardio. It's going to be exercises where you're crossing the midline. Something about that really boosts the left side of the brain. And so that is a great way to go. And it doesn't have to be exhaustive. And Thomas is kind of going to join in.
I'm here. Hello.
But we'll visit some more about those little tips and tricks and how you can integrate oils into that as we go through the class. So for some of our newer friends, I usually do like to go over just a little bit of information about oils. As you guys know, quality matters so much. Especially in the products that you're using daily. That's why we really love that Young Living monitors the processes all the way from seed to seal. So it starts with the very best seeds. They don't use any harmful chemicals when it comes to pests management or weed management. They do hand weed on all their farms. They harvest at the peak times. They distill on site, and they are very, very particular about how that distillation process goes. And then they test minimally at least 3 times along in the process of that distillation to make sure that before they send it off to us, it's the best. All of those little steps really make sure that they're giving us the products that are of the highest quality, and they make them more effective when we use them. So it's a really amazing process. Oh, there we go. It's a really amazing process that does ensure that in an industry that's largely unregulated, there's checks and balances, and nothing gets to us that has any issues with it. So next up, we'll talk a little bit about safety and usage. Throughout class, we'll make suggestions for oils and products that you can use every day to support your wellness and create habits, especially good sleeping habits. But before we dive into specifics, we'll talk a little bit about usage and safety. Obviously, when using pure oils, you still want to dilute with a carrier oil a lot of times. You never want to put them in your eyes or ears or any mucous membranes. And then also follow the directions on the label. So if it's labeled one way or the other as far as dietary or aromatic topical, use it that way, and that's going to be your good go-to on that. As you guys know, there are 2 different types of oils. The solid colored ones are the aromatic topical directions, and then the ones with the white labels are from the Vitality line, and those are labeled for ingestion or dietary use. We love to cook with them as well. It's a really easy way to see it. The same oils in either the solid colored or the white label, but it's just so much easier as far as the directions go. So we are going to jump right into some really good information. How you start your morning obviously has a huge impact on what your remainder of your day is going to look like. It can be a very good indicator of how the day will end as well. If you wake up with your mind already racing and frantic, rushing about to get things done for yourself or your kids or anyone else who's around you, you kind of get set on edge, and you're setting yourself up for a day that will have that same vibe, have that same feel. The founder of Young Living, Gary Young, kind of developed a protocol he called the Great Day Protocol. It uses 4 very specific oils to support emotions and promote feelings of harmony and joy, and to guard against negative energy that disrupt your thoughts and send your emotions kind of into that tailspin. You can also use these oils to combat occasional sadness. So we're going to take a closer look at each of those as we go through this portion of the class. Valor is up on the screen, gives you a few ideas of how that works, but Valor is awesome because it promotes feelings of courage and self-esteem and helps us to balance the body's energies. We like to use this oil in the morning on your wrists, and then you can also cup over your nose and inhale as you set your intentions for the day. So it's a great intention setter. And it also, you can inhale and visualize what you want to accomplish in the day, which is awesome when you're feeling like you've got so much to do that it's overwhelming. Do you have any stories about Valor that you'd like to share?
Valor? Yes.
Okay.
I put that on a lot. If I have something really stressful I got to do, any crazy meetings, things like that, right? I get up in front of people. Very calming, very relaxing. And it makes a really nice cologne, I think.
Yeah. Or perfume for that matter. I know.
Or yeah, the ladies. Yeah, you like it too.
Yeah, I like it too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Very relaxing.
It
makes some rotation in the mornings among others. But,
yeah. Definitely good to have some in the rotation. The next oil in Gary's Great Day Protocol was Harmony. Harmony helps to create a positive attitude, reduces stress. It repels feelings of discord and chaos. So it's great for those days when you're just all in your head and everything's kind of swirling. You can apply this oil over your solar plexus area, which is just below the sternum and above your belly button. So kind of that space that's between. And then you can use that while setting specific intentions to harmonize with those around you. I know we use this one a lot when our little boys were toddlers. I guess our medium boys, we've got a littler boy now too, but when they were toddlers, we diffused that one a lot to keep them a little more chill. The next one up is Joy. Joy is one that's very calming, uplifting. The aroma is used to bring joy to the heart and mind. You can place a few drops in your hands, inhale through your nose, and rub over your chest, on your heart. That is one I kind of meant to share this little bit of testimonial, but it actually fits in pretty well here. Joy is one. So for those of you who don't know us for a long time, but when we moved here, right before we moved to Georgia, we found out that the baby we were carrying had issues and he wasn't going to make it. And we were dealing with the move and all of those things. And it was hard to find the joy in situations. And so Joy was one that I used a lot through that 6 to 8 month time period. I don't know how much you used it because it's pretty floral.
I put it in a diffuser a lot.
Yeah. But that's kind of my story of how that helped me focus the energy on looking to the bright side, looking to the enjoyment of the time we had, that sort of thing. So oils really can be something that help you focus in those situations. And it doesn't have to be even anything super drastic. It can help you focus through any situation where you might be dealing with issues where you need to find the joy. The next one in Gary's Great Day Protocol is a favorite of mine. It's white angelica. So white angelica is kind of used to create deeper feelings of security and protection by offsetting the negative energies that work to bring you down and invade your personal space. So this will be your shield kind of as you navigate your day, striving to stay stress-free, balanced, and relaxed. You can place a drop in your hand and rub your palms together, kind of deep breath in. And then a lot of times people like to take and inhale and then kind of from the top crown of your head down, kind of almost like envisioning a shield going down, kind of over you. So kind of all the way, just imagine that kind of imaginary shield, but the energetic frequency of white angelica is very protective. And we have lots of stories where, you have to be around someone who brings you down. And it's one of those oils that you can turn to if you have to work in a space where people are doing that, or even just someone in your household. I know a lot of, there are a couple ladies in our team where, when they first started using oils, their spouse was not on board at all. And they were like, okay, get the white angelica out, and really, I know that was something that a couple of the ladies said that really benefited them as they kind of worked oils into their household and getting their husband on board. So that kind of gets you ready for anything you're going to tackle for the day and anything that day is going to throw at you.
That one you always mention with the raindrop technique that you do.
Oh,
it's really good to wear as you, the person giving the raindrop.
Yeah. Raindrop is more, for Jillian, she has not had one yet.
Right.
It's kind of, it's not a massage. You're applying oils to the feet and the spine, but it is something where a lot of times, especially if you're working on someone who might have some times where they, it can be an emotional process, put it that way. And just having that kind of intention of not letting it get with you is a good thing.
Really good for that,
good way to use that. So now we're kind of going to jump to the midday slump. I know despite best efforts, there are still going to be days where you find yourself slipping into an abyss of kind of negative reactions, occasional anxious moments, stress-filled interactions with others, and that's just by midday. There's no need to fear, though. There are a lot of things you can use. First one that comes to mind is Stress Away Roll-On. It's great because it's in a roll-on, and you can just go swipe, and you're good to go. Great to have on hand for those moments where it sneaks up on you. It's one that you can put a swipe on your wrist or your neck, stop for 30 seconds, just inhale, close your eyes, let the lavender and the lime and the vanilla kind of relax you, maybe get some thoughts of a beach vacation in your mind with your toes in the sand, and just, when you open your eyes and you're in reality, you'll at least find yourself a little bit more calm and a little bit more centered and relaxed. When you breathe in the scent of a pure essential oil, it has a direct effect on your emotions through that olfactory system. Your sense of smell is the only one of the 5 senses that's directly connected to your emotional center of your brain. So this gives you the power really to retrain your brains to focus on thoughts that are positive and releasing any negative emotional patterns that you may have. And those negative emotional patterns are really what hold us back from reaching our full potential. So these things are really, really helpful to help you just take a moment, focus, and just work on retraining your brain, that left side of the brain that we talked about, retraining that to find the positive. So Stress Away is not the only oil that can help you get over the mid-afternoon slump and the grouchies. So here's a few others you can try. Obviously, first one that came to mind for me was Peace and Calming. Peace and Calming is not only a great oil for you, but it also works for kiddos, and it helps them work through the emotional feelings. It helps lessen those feelings of occasional stress that they have, but also for it works just as well for adults. So it helps that feeling of overwhelmed. After Peace and Calming is bergamot. Bergamot is it's used to elevate your mood. It's found in a lot of other blends. It's a really versatile citrus oil. It's in acceptance, believe, gratitude, and harmony. Those 4 are really amazing blends that you can keep on hand. But bergamot itself is a very inexpensive citrus oil and is great in the diffuser for that uplifting aroma. Vetiver is one that a lot of people kind of shy away from because it's very earthy, but it's very grounding and calming.
It is, yeah.
It helps to overcome stress from past emotional trauma. So it's great for, actually Vetiver is one I would suggest if you have issues winding down for sleep that might have to deal with past things, past experiences that might have been traumatic. Lavender also is actually one that goes really great with Vetiver because it kind of offsets that earthy tone. It's lavender, obviously everybody has their kit, and that's an oil that's in the premium circuit. It's relaxing and balancing, helps to improve concentration and kind of unwinding so that you can calm your mind down for relaxation. So these oils can be used throughout the day, diffusing them in the office, putting a drop in your hands and just inhaling them. A lot of people who are wanting to save a few pennies will also just breathe it in from the bottle from time to time. So that's a very easy way to kind of get that scent without, necessarily getting it on your hands. Or if you're around in a workspace and you might have people around who don't want to smell lavender or Peace and Calming, it's a good way to kind of get it into your olfactory system without the entire space using it. So we've talked about morning, we've talked about midday. Next up is talking a little bit about the early evening wind down time. So supper's finished, homework's done, sports practices are over, kids have been bathed and are tucked into their beds. You sit down on the couch. Now, I don't know about you, but this might be the typical evening. You sigh and you let your mind wander back to everything you didn't get accomplished that day. You continue to stress over the argument or phone call that didn't go your way. You already find yourself anxious about everything you have to do tomorrow. So if that's you, it's pretty safe to say that you're going to find you're not going to have a peaceful night's sleep. It's just not conducive for that. It carries the stress of that day into your sleeping time. So if your downtime went something like that, you might want to sit down on the couch and try this instead. 1, celebrate everything you crossed off your to-do list today. And I would even suggest that maybe as you went through your day, write down the thing you did accomplish so that you can look at it in the evening, and maybe write it in black and white on lined paper so you're even working that left brain. 2, feel at peace with the way you handled every situation you faced because you were able to stay calm and relaxed. And that's a lot easier to do if you're using the oils throughout the day. And then the third thing would be, find yourself looking forward to tomorrow with anticipation of all the blessings that await you. So try to end your day on the positive, not on the negative. I know that might sound a little too good to be true, but it doesn't really have to be. If you get in a routine of using those calming oils all through the day and you set your intentions and your mindset to focus on the positive, you will set yourself up for one of the best night's sleep you've ever had. There are a couple of other tips that will help you chill out during that evening downtime. So turn the phone off, which is really, really hard, I know, but turn the phone off, sip on some hot tea. If you want to add a little boost, adding a drop of lemon vitality is a great way to tea, and the lemon vitality is really, really aromatic. So
1 drop is plenty.
Yeah, 1 drop is more than enough. And even if you're new at putting oils into tea and things, you can even take a toothpick and swirl, dip it in the lemon oil bottle and then swirl it in your water cup, in your tea cup. It'll give you the hint of that lemon. Well, that's a good idea for the vetiver, Tara. That's a good tip, putting a little bit of carrier oil on the reducer. Yeah, we've had that issues with vetiver too.
Yeah, the vetiver is very viscous.
Very thick and slow.
Yeah, but once you do put it on, it lasts a long time. It's kind of like some of the woodsy oils. And it's I think it's based off of a grass type thing, but the woodsy oils and the vetiver, they last a long time.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because it is such a big drop.
Notice it in the morning when you wake up too the next day.
Yeah, it's a very heavy note on that one.
Yeah.
Like you could use it in a perfume as a base to have that kind of long lasting scent. So other things you can do for that evening wind down time. I know Tara is with me and doesn't bath very often. I'm a shower girl, but the putting Epsom salts and about 10 drops of lavender. I usually do way less lavender than that. Even I usually do maybe 4 to 5 drops. And then sometimes I'll put some drops of Stress Away in too, but that and then straight into your bath is amazing. Also just about as relaxing, if you're not a bath person, a foot soak with that same Epsom salt lavender concoction is really, really good. And obviously aromatherapy, that's what we're here for. Get your diffuser going with some of those calming oils that we just talked about and just diffuse those as you're winding down. So another one would be light stretches. Don't do any super crazy yoga poses or really, really intense stretching, but some basic stretches, real basic yoga poses are great for just releasing the tension in your muscles. And you can always add some frankincense or some panaway to your feet for like even more relaxation. And those are really, really good tips for that early evening time to kind of set you up. Now at evening or at bedtime, as you're going to bed. So you've followed all these tips. You've used the oils we talked a little about. You should be calm, relaxed, and ready to go straight to sleep. But maybe you're not, or maybe you want to even boost that to make sure you don't wake up in the middle of the night. It can be really difficult to completely turn your mind off and get into that state of full relaxation. And if that's you, there are some really great things that we're going to cover now. So I'll kind of get to the oils in a minute, but the very first thing I want to share with you guys is about Sleep Essence. It's a supplement that's kind of the joke is it's your bad dreams' worst nightmare. It's going to send them running. That little capsule combines 4 essential oils that are known for enhancing their properties, that sleep enhancing properties, and a little bit of naturally occurring melatonin. And that helps you get a restful night's sleep. So 1 to 2 capsules. I started with 1, and 1 was plenty for me. And I would think if you've ever tried a melatonin type sleep aid, and you know it affects you pretty heavily, start with 1 for sure. But about 30 to 60 minutes before heading off to bed, and you'll be out really well. So for oils, we have Rutavala and Tranquil. They're 2 of our roll-on blends that help to calm the mind and body, to ease tension of the day, and to usher in that peaceful night's sleep. Rutavala is a combination of lavender, ruta, and valerian. And then Tranquil is a blend of lavender, cedarwood, and Roman chamomile. Now, I know those may sound like, especially since they both have lavender as the base, you may think, well, they would work very similarly. I don't know about you, but 1 works better for me and 1 works better for him.
The Tranquil for me.
Tranquil for
I
you.
know exactly where it is. I can find it in the dark.
Yeah.
I know right where it is.
Yeah. And see, Rutavala, I can put a little teeniest dab of that on, and I have the best, most vivid dreams. And so I know I have to just use a tiny tap of it, but that valerian in that Rutavala is very cool. You may have noticed that in Tranquil is Roman chamomile. So we're going to talk a little bit about Roman chamomile. So that oil is one that kind of really deserves to be singled out. It's talked about all on its own all the time. You guys have probably tried chamomile tea before. I've had it a few times. It's really, really relaxing. But the Roman chamomile is kind of that times 100. So very chill after you use that one. It has the power to kind of calm the crankiest babies, to relax the most restless of adults, to minimize the biggest fears and worry, to stabilize the out of whack emotions, and foster the ability to release even your most negative emotions. That Roman chamomile is definitely one worth stocking up on if you guys need to get a hold of something that does those things. So another favorite of a lot of members, and we'll talk a little bit about how different members use it different ways, but it's a huge favorite of a lot of members. The blend Dreamcatcher is a blend that protects against negative thinking. And this is an oil that you can use to inspire creativity as you chase your dreams. Some people like to use it at night before they go to bed. Others like to use it during the day. And I have used it both ways. Like if I needed some inspiration for something, Dreamcatcher is one I would use during the day for that. But at night, if you find yourself getting into a pattern of nights where you're having no dreams, if that's something you're used to having a lot of, that can be a help. But oils are amazing because they'll work kind of mutagenic almost. If you are having a lot of bad dreams, Dreamcatcher can also be great because it can kind of settle those down and kind of subconsciously channel those. The biggest thing is once you oil up, if you find you're still having a hard time relaxing your mind and thoughts are still racing, there are a few other things you can try. So journaling kind of goes back to that left brain thing we've been talking about, but you're not going to journal every last little detail of your life at 1 a.m., but you do probably want to maybe get your thoughts down on paper, and that'll help you get them out of your head. It's one of those things where you can write it and walk away, and now you've got it written, and you're just, let go and let God is kind of how I always thought about that. Is just you get it down and you write it. It's the same thing if you have a beef with a friend, write them a letter. Send it off. Sometimes you don't send it all the way off. Sometimes you just, imaginary send off the letter. But writing things down, it gets them out of your head. So keeping a journal on your nightstand, if you're one of those people whose mind really spirals, is a good idea. Going to bed with gratitude, that would be the biggest one that will also help set you up for the next day. So instead of laying in bed thinking of all the things that could go wrong, force yourself to stop and focus on all the things that have gone right. kind of rely on past good experiences to kind of almost forecast future good experiences. So if you need help coming up with things to be grateful for, there's a blend called Gratitude that you can inhale to your wrists and or apply to your wrists and inhale. That is really, really great for helping you focus on that. There are so many of the emotional blends that I love how Gary named them. When he made a blend, he had a specific use in mind. A lot of times there are a lot of blends that will work for multiple things, but so many of the names just automatically focus your mind to the thing that you want to be working on. So if you need to work on joy is picking up the bottle and saying that name on that bottle is going to be something that focuses your mind to the joyful. So as you guys are all members, so you kind of know these details. So we won't dwell on those too much, but ways to order, obviously there's the retail customer option. Best option is the wholesale membership. You get the 24% off. And you start with a premium starter kit, which you guys all know has those 12 great oils in it. And I know I saw that, who was that? The comment about Valor being back in the premium starter kit. Yeah, it was Alyssa. Valor was in our premium starter kit too 7 years ago. So I'm like, yay, Valor's back in that kit. But Valor and Peace and Calming and Lavender are all in that kit now, and they are awesome for starting out and when you want to work on those emotional issues. And the de-stressing, I love that those are in the kit now. And then you guys all also know about Essential Rewards. It's really great because you do earn those points back. That first year you're on Essential Rewards, at 3, 6, 9 months, you get a gift in your box. It'll just automatically come. And then at a year and every year after that, you get a special gift. At the year mark, it's this blend called Loyalty. It smells amazing. It's one of my favorite. Yeah. It's on my nightstand. I don't think you get to use it very often.
No, I don't.
Yeah. But I do really, really like that one. It's not quite a perfume oil necessarily, but it's one that really helps me focus. So super beneficial. And then you guys also probably know about the free promotional items at those tiered PV. I know we love those tiered PV because A, they're usually oils we need to stock anyway, but B, if we've already gotten them recently, a lot of times we can gift them to friends in need, or we'll have one on hand if a member needs to get one and they can't get it in their ER recently or soon, that kind of thing. There are also several exclusively discounted Essential Rewards kits. So especially if you're wanting to stock up on Ningxia Red, there's an Ningxia Red Rewards kit. I believe there's a Thieves Rewards kit as well. I believe there's also one that has the Balance Complete in it, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's great if you're wanting to kind of kickstart a more healthful pattern of eating and that kind of thing. Then also, if you don't know about it, when you're on Essential Rewards, you also have access to Young Living Go and Young Living Go Plus, which are awesome because it's kind of like Amazon Prime in that you pay for I think the Young Living Go Plus is about $60, and it pays for the shipping on all of a year's worth of Essential Rewards orders, no matter how heavy they are. So if you're a Ningxia Red person, that's a really, really great way to go. We just bumped up to the Young Living Go Plus last month. We found we were making a second order every month. Well, with Young Living Go Plus, you get an extra 24 shipments paid for free. So even if you only use a few of them, it still saves you a ton of money. And we found we are earning Essential Rewards points back at that 25% back tier now. So we get, for every $100 we spend, we get $25 back. So we were finding we were making points order often enough that even getting the Young Living Go Plus was good because it paid for my points order to come to me every other month or so. And that's the biggest thing, is those points too. That really starts to add up after you, after that fourth month, I believe, is where it kicks up to 20% back. So $20 on every $100 you spend. But I believe that, yeah, that's the last slide. I'm really excited you all could join in. And the biggest thing is use your oils to help you not start that downward spiral that's going to cause you to lose sleep. The losing sleep is going to cause you to stress out more, and the stressing out more is going to, all kinds of issues. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we can unmute microphones and chit chat if we want to. I will, let's see if I can re-find that button.